Shalom. The God of the Bible, Yahawah, is the true troublemaker. All praise is due to Yahawah by Hashem Yahawashi, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom. Salutations to brothers out here pushing the word of truth and sincerity. We are the Hebrew Israelites, and I'm going to discuss and go over briefly that Yahawah, our power, the power of the Bible, all right, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, Yahawah, is a real troublemaker, all right? He's a troublemaker, somebody who stirs up strife, somebody who stirs up tension, okay? Yahweh is the real troublemaker, all right? Now, these is images I'm Googling from, of Yahweh. You type in the name of the Most High, Yahweh, all right? You have images come up, all right? As you can see, as relate to us in the book of Daniel, it tells us that he has white woolly hair, okay? And he has a garment, okay, and his skin like bronze, as does his son, Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's a troublemaker, and we're going to go through that in the scriptures, man, okay? He is the king of terrors, all right? But before I get into the scriptures, let me bring out this word that we're going to emphasize and speak on today. We'll go over a key word, proliferation. Proliferation. Proliferation means rapid increase in numbers. That's all it means. It means an increase in numbers rapidly, fast increase of numbers. Okay, from the French proliferaries, right? Proliferation, brothers. That's what's going on with these nukes. Nuclear weapons is in a phase of proliferation. It's fastly increasing in numbers. As you can see down here, it says a continuing threat of nuclear proliferation. Why is nuclear proliferation a threat? Well, because we all know what happens when thermonuclear war will take place on American soil. There's going to be a complete devastation of this society in this country. America is going to be wiped off the earth, meaning it's going to be nuked to a desert land, man. All right. So if I go to the book of Judges, let's start at the book of Judges 9. Okay. Satan's trying to get in the way of this. Let's start at Judges 9. It says, when Abimelech had reigned 3 years over Israel, then the Most High sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. And the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. Who sent that evil spirit? The Most High, man. So that's what we learn about the Most High, is that he sends these spirits on men. And as the topic says here, stirs up adversaries, man. He's the ultimate troublemaker. He didn't have to send that spirit, but he did. And exactly when he sent that spirit, it tells you that and the men of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. Let's go to 1 Kings 11:4. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. And what is an adversary? Let's get that. All right. Because the Most High stirs up adversary, that's something to look upon. Oh, so when you go to the word adversary, what do we have here? Shatan. Shatan in the Hebrew, which means Satan. Shatan. So when we call certain Amalekites who profess themselves Jews that walk by, we call them Ban Shatan. Now you know what we're saying, son of Satan. Okay? An adversary, you see? Adversary, one who withstands. Who gets in your way, brothers? Anybody who gets in the way of this truth or gets in the way of the elect is Satan, an adversary. Okay? That's right, an opponent. An arch enemy of good, Satan. Adversary, withstand, you see? So it's very simple. As in war. Okay? Now, the Most High stirs up adversaries. As you see here, I'll read it again. And the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. So the Most High is the ultimate troublemaker. When things is going well for Israel, he can shut that down quickly. You see, for it came to pass when David was in Edom and Joab, the captain of hosts, was gone up to bury the slain after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom. So that enemy was stirred up from a past situation. Now America has raped, robbed, and murdered the whole world. All right. It has colonized damn near the entire earth, man. A majority of parts of the earth. American colonies. Let's see if as Solomon, American colonies. Okay, 13 colonies. That's not what I'm talking about. Colonies. What country colonized the USA? Who colonized the Americas territory? What are territories of the United States? That's what I'm looking for. Currently, the United States has 16 territories, 5 of which are permanently inhabited: Puerto Rico, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. They are classified as unincorporated territories. Then you have to ask yourself, how many countries did America CIA try to influence? American CIA involvements internationally. How many American because they have 16 colonies, but how many different places did America involve in regime change? We're gonna find that real quick. United States involvement in regime change. Wikipedia. United States involvement in regime change has entailed both overt and covert actions aimed at altering, replacing, or preserving foreign governments. So United States can't keep out of other countries' lands for its benefit, for its own gain and benefit. You see, America wants more and more. The scripture tell you in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, that his desire is as hell. Meaning the so-called white man wants to come into everybody's land and bound up the people and have them as his slaves. And the way you do that is bankrupt the country. You give them debt. You make them, you give them loans and then increase the interest rate. When they can't pay it back, you go off and you sell all of their infrastructure. You sell the water supply. You sell the education system. You set up factories in there. You bankrupt them, man. And that's what these countries, that's what America does. And when it can't do that, it looks to seek regime change. United States involvement in regime change has entailed both overt and covert actions. Overt means open. Covert means covered, like a covering. There's way you do things in the dark and some things you do in the light. America does both. It says aimed at altering, replacing, and preserving foreign governments. Now it says this right here on Wikipedia that America has covert actions. Why do the majority of Americans believe everything that they hear? Why is there anything called classified documents that the CIA will not bring out? Why is there things that are declassified? It had to be classified in the first place. And then when they declassify information, a lot of times it has black marker over names, over vital information. And many things you cannot know. As a United States citizen, you will not know. They won't tell you because it's a lot of classified covert actions, man, including regime changes, America's involvements in places like Syria, Iraq, in the Mideast. These countries, America is notorious for having its hand in undermining countries, man. It says in the latter half of the 19th century, all right, which was a century ago. Okay, matter of fact, which was less than 50 years ago, the U.S. government undertook regime changes actions mainly in Latin America and Southwest Pacific, and included the Mexican-American, Spanish-American, and Philippine-American wars. America has its hands in all its nations, man. It has sought out and devised schemes to overrule and change the rulership in these nations. Mexico, Philippines, Latin America, Southwest Pacific. Says at the onset of the United States of the 20th century of the United century of Salakia. At the onset of the 20th century, the United States shaped or installed friendly government in many countries, including Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Friendly government. Let me jump down. Significant operations included the UK orchestrated 1953 Iranian coup d'etat, the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasions targeting Cuba, and support for the Argentinian Dirty War. You see? In addition to U.S.'s traditional area of operations, Central America and the Caribbean. That's Israel. That covers the whole span of where Israel is. The main places where the so-called white man through United States like to put his hand in and have involvement in is wherever Israel dwells. North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean islands. Or the real Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. So the Most High has set up this enemy to be completely over us. And anytime we try to rise up, there is a regime change and it involves the United States government. Point blank, period. Now, let's go back to the segment. I'm not going to make this too long, Lord willing. Let's go back to where it talks about, let's go back to the scriptures. Right? So we just read that the Most High raised up adversaries. He raises up adversaries. He stirs up strife. And the Lord, 1 Kings 11:14, and the Lord stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. And then it goes on to tell you the history of how he took down, how Solomon's father, David, King David, took down Edomites. So all these nations, it's not hard to see that these nations that we have, the United States have been involved with as far as regime change, could easily turn against America. 1 Kings 11:23, and the Most High stirred up another adversary, Rezon, the son of Eliada, which fled from the Lord Hadadezer, king of Zobah. More adversaries. 2 Kings 18:25, and I now come up with the Lord against this people to destroy it. The Lord said unto me, go up against this land and destroy it. The Most High sends adversaries, man. The Most High sends you adversaries. People who you thought were allies can be easily turned into adversaries. 2 Kings 19:25. Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Because you look at ancient times to try to project what the future times may be. You look at history, which is all there, which is all written down, to try to project where the future might take us. And if you look at how the Most High raises up enemies of different lands, you can easily see how he can raise up an enemy against this land, America. Now, did not the Most High take down Babylon with the Medes and the Persians? The Medes first and then the Persians later? Did not the Most High take down the Medes and the Persians with the Greeks? Did not the Most High take down the Greeks with the Romans? So forth and so on. 2 Kings 19:25. Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Now have I brought it to pass that thou shouldest be to lay waste fenced cities into ruinous heaps. Most High conquers nations, man, and he builds up new nations in their stead. He takes down kings and he builds up new kings in their stead. Scriptures say because of unrighteous gains, the kingdom, the power is transferred from one to another, man. Because of unrighteous gains and filthy gains, man. That's America. Look at the inception of this country and tell me that America hasn't been founded off of unrighteous gains. You had to take down of the Gadites, who are Native Americans. Okay? Or what I'm going to do a segment on that. Native Americans. The takedown of Gad and Reuben. So-called Native Americans. Our brothers. You had to take down in destruction of Central and South America. All the northern tribes of Israel. Who were called Taino Indian, Aztec, Incas, Mayans. Our tribesmen. Our brothers in Israel. which make up Israel. Okay, because it's called the 12 tribes of Israel. It doesn't belong to one tribe. There's 12. Okay, now the so-called white man has destroyed our people, man. Then you had the transatlantic slave trade, 300 million slaves or 100 million slaves taken from the west coast of Africa over to the east coast, put in cargo slavery, and then bred like farm livestock for slavery. You see? So we've been destroyed by the same man. If he's laid that seed, a foundation of bloodshed on in American soil, what makes you think he can't be, he's gonna last, man? And try to be righteous all of a sudden and peaceful all of a sudden. All we know as Negroes and Latinos and so-called Native Americans is his cruelty. All right. So it says, 2 Kings 24:20. For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah. The anger of the Lord is something to watch out for. Until he had cast them out from his presence, he destroyed them out of his presence. When somebody say, get out of my presence, and you don't move, they're going to mess you up. That Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. You see, the Most High sent the king of Babylon to come and destroy Jerusalem and Judah during the time of Zedekiah. All right, Isaiah 36:10. It continue. And I am that Slakia, just stammering lips. And am I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said unto me, go up against this land and destroy it. Isaiah 37:26. Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it? I read some of these already. Slakia for rereading them. That I have formed it. Now have I brought it to pass that thou shouldest be to lay waste the fenced cities into ruinous heaps. The Most High said it. That mystery Babylon is going to fall. It said, Babylon, how hast thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning? He projected that Lucifer, who is a light bearer, so-called white people who are in doing covert and overt operations. You are the light bearer. You are the leading witches on this earth, on the left-hand side. All right. You will fall from heaven like lightning. Okay. Edom shall be a desolation. All right. Your turn is next. Isaiah 32 and 37 and 27. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, dismayed and confounded, ruined, man. What does dismayed mean? Isaiah 37 and 27. What is dismayed talking about? Dismayed in the Hebrew, it says chathath, all right? And dismayed means to be shattered, to be dismayed, broken, abolished, afraid, shattered, broken, scared, dismayed, terrified, shattered. So main point here would be to shatter, to break down, to prostrate, hence to break down. It says either literally by violence or figuratively by confusion or fear. I think America already has the confusion and fear. The Lord speaking and parabolically as in Revelations about Babylon being destroyed, or Babylon how art thou fallen. Babylon is fallen. That's talking very violent, literally violence, man. That's how it's going to be broken down, with violence. That's why it tells you that it shall be a sea of glass. It says that, hell shall be thrown into the lake of fire. America. You see, it's going to be completely violently taken down, man. The Lord said that the heavens shall be on fire as a scroll. All right, and the earth shall rock to and fro. Thermonuclear technology is out here. That's why I brought out the word proliferation. Proliferation just means rapid increase in numbers. They call it the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Now, this proliferation is a term all found in the news right now. Chemical disarmament and non-proliferation. U.S. hopes Russia avoids retaliatory sanctions and nuclear non-proliferation. What does that mean? That means the U.S. hopes that Russia does not go back on its agreement that it had with the U.S. in terms of destroying nuclear weapons and not building more. But the sanctions can go both ways. Okay, you want to sanction us? Russia sanctions this nuclear proliferation treaty that y'all had. You know what? We're going to make more nukes and we're going to sell them to your enemies. That's why at times it's very serious, man. Pakistan and China hold bilateral consultations on arms control, non-proliferation. China has always really been against this nuclear, building up its nuclear arsenal, which it can. It can match U.S. if it wanted to. We got 1 billion people over there, but it doesn't. It tends not to. The Lord can change that at any time. Former nuke commander talks about proliferation, deterrence in China. How guns move, understanding the deadly game of weapon proliferation, meaning rapidly increase. That's what proliferation means. Preventing proliferation, meaning preventing it from rapidly increasing. Tracking uranium on the blockchain. Meeting on non-proliferation. U.S. ramps up counter weapons of mass destruction spending amid Mid-East turmoil, I'm sure. You see? So there's no non-proliferation. It's always rapid increase in proliferation of weapons amid proliferation threats. Let's read a little bit. The Pentagon is here. Donald Trump administration is spending $6 million on a handful of U.S. allies in the Middle East to help keep mass casualty bombs and chemical agents out of hands of terrorists. Money being spent. They're trying to reduce it, but it's proliferating. More money is being spent, and the scriptures tell you that they shall beat their plowshares into swords. So these countries want more weapons, man, to fight off this America. Now the term is anti-Western sentiment. Anti-Western sentiment, also known as anti-Atlanticism, refers to a broad opposition or hostility toward the people, cultures, values, or policies of the Western world. That's us, United States. That's the UK. That's France. That's the Western world. All right, Edomite ruled countries. In many modern cases, the United States and the United Kingdom are the subject of discussion or hostility. I'll read that again. In many modern cases, the United States and the United Kingdom are the subject of discussion or hostility, though the most part historically it was fueled by anti-colonialism and anti-imperialism, meaning historically, colonialism and America's involvement in history of colonialism and imperialism throughout the world, meaning taking down other nations and colonizing them and calling them your own when they was already inhabited. America's history and the United Kingdom's history and involvement of that has fueled hostility towards America. See? It all comes back to bite you on the ass, Esau. It all comes back to bite you on the ass. And that's what the Lord is going to be involved with when it comes to the downfall of the Edomites. Okay, as you see here. All right. And he's done that with every nation since the beginning of times. Jeremiah 27:6. And now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him, and his sons and his son's son, until the very time of his land come. And then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. Jeremiah 46:17, last scripture. They did cry there, Pharaoh king of Egypt, but is but a noise. He hath passed the time appointed. Why is there a time appointed? Because the Most High sets up times. He said in Jeremiah Job 14, the triumphing of the wicked is short. He cannot set past the bounds, all right, of his appointed times. And with that, the Most High is the ultimate troublemaker. Shalom.